guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Bonnie and this is my channel where I talk about all things lifestyle and DIY. So if you're interested in either of those, make sure you hit subscribe and turn on those notifications. But today I'm going to be sharing part 2 of a 2-part series for my first vendor fair or craft fair, whatever you want to call it. So if you guys haven't checked out the first one, make sure you do so by clicking the link down below or the one up above. And once you're done watching that one, make sure you come back here and watch this one so you can hear all the good, the bad, and the things that I think should be improved on my next vendor event. So if you guys want to hear that, just keep watching. Alright guys, so I do want to mention that this vendor event went on base. So if you aren't in the military or you don't have military access, you wouldn't have been able to shop or be a vendor as part of this event. So I just want to throw that out there for you guys. So this craft fair was hosted by one of the units that are on base, and they just asked for a $20 donation in order to become a vendor for this event, which I feel like is super cheap. This is their first event, or this was their first event, so it was a learning experience for them as well as it was for me and everybody else it was their first time. And I did find out that there was a lot of first-time vendors out there, which was kind of cool because it took a lot for me to be able to put myself out there. So I kind of feel like being it the first time for other people, they might have felt the same way too. So the fact that it was close to home, it was on base, and it was within like a smaller community that we knew and felt comfortable with, it was a really great first time experience for a vendor event. So like I mentioned earlier, they asked for a $20 donation, but I believe there was like a $2.95 Eventbrite fee, and that's where we signed up for the event. They had posted it on like a local community page and asked for anybody who wanted to be a part of it just to sign up through Eventbrite, and then we paid that and then the $20 donation, which I feel like $20 is fairly cheap for all of the events that I have been researching. Some of them are like $25 and up, like as far as like $150 for a spot. It depends on like the location and like all of the other things like where and when and who else is going to be in it. So there's a lot of factors that come into play when it comes to how much you're going to be paying for a spot at a craft fair. And I felt like $20 was something that I definitely could do, so that is why I signed up for this event. So I found out about this event about a month before it actually happened, and I had zero stock. So if you guys know me, I make things for other people here and there. I make things for myself all the time, but doing an event where I had a lot of items to sell was very intimidating and very time consuming. So I spent the entire month with little to no help because Tuan was gone, building all of the things. So I built shelves, I built a blanket ladder, I built a coffee table, I made some coasters, I made some ottoman trays and signs. So I spent all month long working super hard to prepare for this event. And will I do it again? I will touch base on that in a little bit. But I just wanted to let you guys know that it takes a lot of work. If you guys don't have stock already on hand that you're selling to people like online or on like an Etsy shop or even just in person or in general, if you don't have anything, it's going to take a lot of work. And that's something that I kind of didn't factor in because I was just, I think, too consumed about the fact that I took a huge step and signed up for this event in the first place. So it took a lot of preparation, not only for the items that I was going to be selling, but also I wanted to make sure that my items weren't being displayed poorly. So I'm the type of person who is really attracted to things that look nice. So aesthetically pleasing, like that's why I do home decor and I try to do things like that. So I feel like it also attracts, you know, your type of customer. So if your display looks really nice or your setup looks really nice, you're going to attract the people who you want to attract into your space or into your tent. And so that's what I really focused on as well. So I wanted to make sure that I built up so that it would be within like eyesight with not so much like people looking down or picking through things on a table. So I really focused on displaying my items really well. So if you guys have seen the picture from my event, I had pegboard displays that I had built, and I spent about $8 on each of those pegboards. So they weren't that expensive, but they really did amplify my display for my event. So I was really happy that I decided to do that. The other things that I wanted to do, I wanted to have a white tent, but that's just me. I had a blue one already. They gave us a 10 by 10 spot so we could have up to a 10 by 10 tent to use, and I already had one, but mine was blue. And like I said, I like things that are aesthetically pleasing, and a blue tent just was not really cute to me. So I really wanted to get a white one, but unfortunately the white one that I got didn't really work. And I had also purchased sidewalls for it because I felt like if I had a clean wall for my displays to be in front of, it would also be more aesthetically pleasing and therefore look like a regular room, and then I could design it and set it up from there. But anyways, so the space that we got was 10 by 10, and I ended up just using my blue tent that I already had, and I was going to DIY some sidewalls for it and use my backdrop that I have for like photo booths or photo pictures or for birthdays, but it was super windy outside, so unfortunately I wasn't even able to use that. So if you are going to be doing anything like sidewalls or just, I guess, sidewalls in general, make sure that the forecast doesn't call for a lot of wind. Unfortunately, I think it's always windy here. So I don't think, unless I get like the actual sidewalls that are meant for a pop-up canopy, that I will probably do without them for the next event that I sign up for. I'm sorry guys, I have so many things that I want to share with you guys that my thought process is kind of all over the place. I'm trying to work in chronological order from like signing up for the event, making things for the event and setting up for the event, but I'm just probably going to go back and forth between everything as I talk because it's gonna pop up or something else is gonna pop up and I'm just gonna run with it. So next, I'm going to talk about the time frame. So typically craft fairs or markets go from like super early in the morning until like early afternoon, which is what this event was. So it was from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m., which I thought was going to be a really good time frame. However, as the day went on, we quickly realized, a lot of vendors quickly realized that the crowd definitely died down really early. So as soon as we opened up the market at 9 o'clock, there was a whole lot of people there. There was so many people walking around and shopping and looking, and there was just a really great crowd. But by 11:30, 12 o'clock, I feel like that crowd really died down. However, that might have been due to the fact that it was also the last weekend or the last week of school. So school was just out literally the day before. And then it was also graduation weekend. So there was a lot of graduation things going on as well. So that might have played into the fact that the crowd died down super early. But I didn't make a sale past 11:30, I think. I hit my goal like super early in the morning, and then after that there was just like nobody. There were no sales, but I ended up staying until 2:30. The unit that was hosting the event also packed up around 2:30, but I was literally the last tent standing because I felt like it was my duty. I felt like it was my duty to stay until 3 o'clock for all of the people that we advertised that we were going to be out there from 9 to 3. So I don't know if that's a thing for other events, that if you sign up, unless you sell out, you have to stay until, you know, the close of the event, or if you're allowed to pack up early, because I had no idea. So I stayed, and it kind of bummed me out that a bunch of the other vendors, because they weren't making sales, packed up super early as well, because then the crowd diminished even more, because, you know, there was only 3, 4, 5 tents left versus how many ever we started with. So it was a very empty parking lot, and personally, I drive by that too. I wouldn't even stop by. So I was kind of bummed that a lot of people left early. I want to say the majority of the vendors left around 1 o'clock, with maybe 6 tents left around like 2, and then everybody else packed up. So I do know for the next event that they are hosting, the event is also going to be on a Saturday, but the time is changing from 9 to 3. It's now going to be from 8 to 1. which I think is going to be a lot better. And then speaking of time frame, so the event opened at 9 this time, and we were allowed in at 8 to start prepping and setting up. And I kid you not, I had just enough time to set up all of my things. But that is only because I had help from Elise. So thank you, Elise. If you're watching this video, I appreciate you so much because I could not have done this first event without you. She came to my house at 7:45 and helped me load in all my things into her car that didn't fit in my car. And then I told her that she didn't even have to stay, but she stayed and she helped me out. So I appreciate your help, Elise. Thank you so much. I don't think you know how much that help meant to me. But yes, so I only had an hour to set up, and on my video that I shared with you guys for my first event experience, I said I am going to grab coffee and then wait until the event to start, which was in like 3 minutes. Now I'm going to get my coffee from the car and then just wait for the event to start, which is in like 3 minutes. So perfect amount of time for me to be able to set up and get all of my displays perfect. Another thing that helped me a lot was my wagon. So even with Elise's help, I had a lot of little things to carry. So I had all of my props and displays, the smaller items that I was selling, like the coasters and the signs. So without having extra hands, I am so happy that I brought the wagon because we were able to load up a ton of things on there. Parking, by the way, we had to park around the corner, so we weren't right next to our spot, so we couldn't just unload everything. So parking kind of sucked, but yeah, so we parked around the corner, loaded up the wagon, and then brought it to my tent. So I really think that if you have smaller items or a lot of items that you have to carry, that you should probably pack a wagon to help you. All right, guys, so now I'm going to talk about the sales from this event. My expectations from it was not super high because 1, it was a smaller event. 2, it was poorly advertised. 3, it was only to those with military access or people on base. So I just really didn't want to get my hopes up, but I did set it higher than what I had spent on supplies. So I'm very happy to say that within the first couple of hours, I surpassed my goal by almost double. So I want to say that I made almost $500 just from the event, and that blew my mind. I kid you not, Elise was there, she can vouch for me. When I made my first sale to a girl who bought one of my shelves with the peg hooks on it, I was dancing up and down. I was freaking out on the inside, smiling on the outside. I was just so happy, and I really wish that I would have had something extra for her just because I wanted her to know how special she was to me for being my first sale. I still feel all fuzzy inside. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's crazy to think that things that I have made with my own 2 hands, things that I have put love into and like time and effort, is out there, you know? Like, it's out there in people's homes, it's out there being used. It's an amazing feeling to have. So, yeah, so I made about $500 from the event, and then I felt like what was a ton of things left over. Even though I had made that amount of money, I still had a ton of things left over that I wanted to sell. So I shared on my Instagram first and said, you know, hey, this is for anybody who's local. The coasters I'll be able to ship. If you guys want to, you know, purchase them, DM me. And I am literally almost sold out. I would consider myself sold out personally because by posting it on Instagram, I was able to sell most of the things that I had left over from the event, but I also received some custom orders. So I quickly surpassed any goal that I had set for this vendor event, but I just want to mention that it wasn't all from the vendor event. Like, it wasn't all person to person interaction, transaction type thing from the event. I did advertise it on Instagram as well so that I would be able to sell the rest of the things that I had left over. So I do want to mention a couple of things that I would have changed. So they did change the time of the event. I wish they would change like the location because it was really poor parking. And even like the guests wouldn't be able to park next to it. They had to park across the street at a local grocery store, which is the commissary or the chapel. So it kind of sucks that they had to walk, you know, across the street and all of that stuff. So if they found a place that had better parking options, I think it would have been better. And then two, advertising. I mean, I advertised on my Instagram kind of, but I think next time I might be able to put together like a flyer or a poster, just to put it out there some more that there is an event coming. And if you have base access, or if I'm not doing it on base, like the location of it, I just want more advertisement, because there were so many times that we posted it onto the community page and people were like, when is it? Where is it? You know, what time is it from? Like they had no idea about any information from this event or for this event. So I definitely think advertising would be or could be better. And less stuff, like less extra stuff. My setup was really cute, but behind the table and under the table, there was just so much junk everywhere. I didn't need all of the power banks that I charged, but my husband always says it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So I'm glad that I had the power banks anyways. I had like the wagon was back there, and all of the bags to hold the folding chairs were back there, to hold the tent back there. I mean, yes, I guess I can't get rid of those. Those things have to be there, but I feel like I could have spent more time organizing that stuff, because it didn't look appealing if you looked back there. Not that anybody would look back there. Okay. I am losing my train of thought, but I just want to make sure that next time I don't have all of that extra stuff laying everywhere, that I could possibly neatly organize it somewhere. All right, guys, so last but not least, for this event, I could not have been more thankful for the networking opportunities that I was able to have. So many people came up to me and was like, oh my gosh, I follow you on Instagram, or, you know, like, oh, I've seen your stuff on Facebook before. So it was really cool to actually be able to meet these people in person, and have my business card put out there. So I sold the coffee table pretty early, and there was a few people who were interested in it, and I let them know that I offer, you know, custom services. So if they were interested in this coffee table, that I could also build them one. So it was kind of cool to be able to network that way versus Facebook, because I'm definitely like a people person, but I like doing interaction face to face rather than over the internet, because I want to show people how much energy that I have and how much passion I have towards this hobby of mine, or I guess business now. So it was really cool to be able to network that way, and the sense of community that I got. There was just so many people out there with so many different crafts and hobbies, and there was like tacos and resin work, and there was another woodworker, and macrame was out there, lip glosses, like all those different types of things. I just felt like it was really cool to be a part of a pretty much like a maker community. So I think that's all that I wanted to talk about from my first experience. They are having another event at the end of June. So if you guys are interested in that, shoot me I guess you can't DM me on YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram and DM me. Otherwise, leave a comment down below and I will give you more information. But it is on June 26th, I want to say, from 8 to 1. And it is on the Marine Corps base in Hawaii. And I will not be there, unfortunately. So I told myself that I would not sign up for another event until I was able to have help from Twan. And so I'm just gonna wait it out and see. I'm sure they're going to do more than one event. So I'm just gonna wait for the next one. But this time I'm probably gonna go to just enjoy the event rather than work it. So if you guys wanna see me there, head there on the 26th. But yeah, that's it for today. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, and I will see you in the next one.